You know what time it is? It's Sunday, so it's time to get some Sunday dinner going on. This your boy Keenan. Keenan just felt like cooking. Yeah, so yesterday, we hooked up a little something, did some ribeyes. Tres Ojos. Yeah, it turned out good. And if you notice anything from yesterday, got my shave on. Gotta look pretty for work on Monday. You know how it goes. Let me let you know what I got going. I'm gonna try to hook up something. It is a Caribbean-inspired dish that I watched my wife make plenty of times. Some have it as brown stew chicken, brown stew fish. Doing some brown stew pork. Check it. All right, check out what I got going. Doing this Caribbean-inspired dish called brown stew pork. Some people get brown stew chicken, brown stew fish. I didn't have it. It's nice and tasty. So I got some nice pieces of pork here. It's like a pork shoulder sliced into real big steaks. Good pieces of meat. Good pieces of meat to stew down. Doing a slow cooker. You can do a quick pulled pork in your slow cooker with those. I got my veggies here. 2 stalks of celery, half a red bell pepper, whole onion, a couple sprigs of thyme, 2 green onions, scallions, however you want it. And here go my liquid. We got some chicken broth and some tomato paste. When my liquid starts to reduce, I'm just going to fill it back up with water and let it concentrate like that. So let's check this out. Alright, so check this out. We're going to go ahead and sear off this pork. Get a nice good color on there. I mean, look at them bad boys. It's a good piece of meat right there. I'm going to do the 2 biggest ones first. Probably some little pieces. So I'm going to fry these up a little bit. We're going to get them flipped. Brown them off. We're not going to cook them all the way through because we're going to stew them down for a few hours. But it's smelling good already. You can see the seasoning all up in there. I seasoned these bad boys yesterday. Custom rubs. Yeah. Get your own rub. Nah, I'm joking. But yeah, put together anything you want in your cabinet. Basis of my rub start off with Goya, and I just go from there. And that's what I suggest. Use some Goya or any kind of seasoning you got in your local area, and then add to it, and add your own flavor profiles. That's what I do. So this meat gonna finish cooking. I'm gonna get them flipped. I'm gonna brown off the other ones. Then we're gonna get it going with these veggies. All right, so check this out. This is what you want. You want to leave them alone and let it do its thing. So we want to flip it. Look at that. Oh yeah, that's what you want right up in there. Let's get this big buddy over here. This bad boy. Ooh. Oh yeah, we rocking that copper shell. So we're gonna let these brown on the other side, get the other ones going, and then get the veggies like I said earlier. It's your boy named Keenan, getting Sunday dinner on. Not outside. The weather got my sinuses acting up, so I'm gonna do it indoors today. Alright, back in a minute. So I'm taking the last of this meat out, browned it up. You don't want to cook it all the way through. You just want to get a nice little color on there and all that. Yeah, that's gonna be good. Had my arm all in the seam. Yeah, I mean that's a good. That's like a pork ribeye, the way it's shaped. And we got all that goodness down in there. Don't dismiss that. That is goodness. That is gonna help you out with flavor and all that. So now we're about to get these veggies up in here. Onion, red bell pepper, celery, green onions, scallions, however you want to say it. And then I'm going to throw that thyme in there. Alright. Throw that in there. So we're going to saute these bad boys up. Get the meat back in here. We're going to add these liquids. So we're going to put it to sleep. So now it's time to add this tomato paste. This is a good heaping tablespoon. Yeah, I heard that on TV, so that must be a measurement. You're going to throw that in there like that. Mix that up with a little tongs. Concentrate that tomato paste flavor. I'm not a big fan of tomatoes, but I mean, tomato paste does some wonders for your food. As well as if you cook them with ketchup, and I can't stand ketchup, but it does, when you put a little fire on it or some heat, it does add some flavor and sweetness and depth to your dishes. So, yeah, we get that all mixed up. We're going to continue sauteing these veggies till these onions start getting translucent. Celery start getting soft and all that. And we're going to add the meat back up in here and the chicken stock. Back in a minute. Alright, so now it's time to add this meat back up in here. Alright, these veggies got nice and soft. Tomato paste added a nice little color. You know, it's nice and concentrated in there. So we're going to add these pieces of meat back up in this bad boy. And I'm going to start with these bigger ones that I did first. Put them in. Just nuzzle them bad boys right up on in there. They look nice and comfy. Throw that in there. And before I add this meat, I added about a good tablespoon of crushed garlic. You don't want to put it in at the beginning because it's going to burn. Boy, look at here, look at here. That is looking good. Smelling even better. You know, you don't want to waste none of that right there. You know, you want to get all that. Yeah, that's the business right there. So to that, you're going to add a little liquid. I got these 2 cans of chicken stock. Low sodium. Get low sodium because you can control the salt. You can't take salt out once you put it in there. Okay. So we're going to fix this one. I mean, he all out the pool. You know, he ain't getting wet. So we're going to, you know, he want to get his feet wet or something. Let's get his feet wet. You know, he hanging on the edge of the pool right there. Alright, so we got everything somewhat covered. You know, you don't want to cover it because then it boil and then you got to boil over and then you got a mess. And you done wasted all your time up in the kitchen. So, there it is. Off to the races with that. We're going to put this bad boy to sleep. We're going to put this lid on here. Let it come up to a boil. And then lower the heat a little bit. And stew it down for, I don't know, I'm going to check in about an hour. See how it is. And then, but most likely we're probably going to go beyond an hour. But right now, time to put it to sleep. Alright, it's been about a good hour. Alright, good hour. So we're going to check these out. Ain't too hot. Oh yeah. That's looking good. Boil, toil and trouble. Something, whatever that little, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, yeah, this can go a little bit longer. It's still a little tight. So I'm going to set this timer for another hour and get back to watching this game, see if the Rams going to pull it off. Alright, we're going to check in about another hour. So it's been about another hour. Within that hour, I would suggest to taste the liquid, adjust your seasoning. We added some more thyme, some more Goya, and some crushed red pepper for this little bit of spice on the back end. We don't make it too spicy because the kids is eating it. But it's ready. About 45 minutes in, I killed the heat and just let it continue boiling. But check out this meat. It is tender as can be. Yeah, look at that. So we let that boil and reduce some. Still about a little under 7 minutes left. So look at that. I mean, that is, woo! Red bells up in there. Celery, onions, green onions, chicken stock, a little garlic. But I mean, look at that. I mean, Oh, I mean that is, and all that fat right there, that, you see that broke down. Let me show that again. You can eat that. That's not going to be all gristly. That's just going to melt right along with the meat right there. That's all flavor, that whole thin layer of fat. That's what you want. You want it to break down where you can eat it, like bacon fat. So I'm finished letting this cool down. I'm going to put some in a bowl. I'm going to work it with some leftover, some of them Yukon Golds that I mashed up yesterday, and some of them French style green beans. There wasn't no need to make another side because we had some left over from yesterday. So I'm going to finish letting this cool off. I'm going to put a plate together. Check this out. So what I did here is I took some of them leftover Yukon Golds that we had from yesterday when I did them ribeye steaks, and I topped it with a little bit of this pork here with some of this gravy. I mean, look how tender this is. Like, that is this. You can shred that, make some nachos. Just give it a taste. Get a little gravy, a little bit more potato. Amazing. It just melts in your mouth. It's like the pork is part. This is like, it's like all one. I mean, this is amazing. That pork is just, oh, the gold color in them Yukons. I mean, we might just start buying Yukon Golds and mash them. They taste better than them russets, in my opinion. I mean, you grew up on russets. You know, Yukons, you had to have a certain bank account to have those. Never even heard of them when I was a kid. So this is my version of some brown stewed pork with assistance from my lovely wife here. A Caribbean inspired dish. And I hope I did her some justice. Look at that. Oh! Oh!
You have to suck on that?
I'm not, but you can. Yeah, I like my bone marrow different from that. It's your boy named Keenan. This is another episode of Just Felt Like Cooking. Your boy Keenan. He just felt like cooking. It's feeling a little under the weather today. The change of the rainy and going back from cloudy, gloomy to sunny messes with your boy's sinuses. So, but still, I still feel like cooking. Knocked it out for the family. Be sure to like and subscribe. 1.